When you make a decision, do you primarily use intuition or formulas? When you think of making decisions, you think of things like what to eat for breakfast or what color shirt to wear for the day. At a more complex level, your decisions might be about whether or not to take up a gym membership or whether or not you should have a healthier dinner. At a business level, your decisions can have implications reaching gains or losses of millions of dollars. So at this point in time, it might be interesting to consider different methodologies that people use to make decisions and the effectiveness of these different methods. Since decisions seem to make a lot of impact in business settings, let's look at two different scenarios, one using intuition, one using formulas that involve a manager trying to convince their CEO to expand their business internationally. And let's see which methodology seems to work the best.
As we can see, Chris, the manager, is presenting the data she has collected on international expansion in Germany and South Africa to Shannon, the CEO, who must choose which market will be better for their business. After being presented with the data from both markets, Shannon makes the decision to expand to South Africa using her intuition as the final factor in her decision-making. This did not work. 1 year later, the company suffered major losses due to the failed venture. In the past, many brands have tried expanding internationally only to fail miserably, possibly because they did not look deeply enough into the target markets. For example, Starbucks in Australia, Best Buy in the UK, Target in Canada, and Tesco in the US. Perhaps these failures could have been avoided had these companies taken their extensive data and created a formula to evaluate their best options for market expansion. Now, let's look at a different approach. This time, Manager Isa is presenting her data on the German and South African markets to CEO Sophia, who, like Shannon in the previous clip, will have to decide which country would make for a better expansion for her business. To make her decision, Sophia devises a decision matrix, pulling together criteria and scoring each one on a scale of 1 to 5 in order to create a point system analyzing both markets. The one with the most amount of points will be the country with the best prospects for expansion. Based on her calculations, Sophia chooses to expand into the German market.
As we can see from the two different scenarios, one scenario led to a much better decision than the other scenario. The manager and the CEO from the first situations took a simple look at the data and made an intuitive judgment that South Africa would be a better market to expand into. Putting the collected data into a formula, the manager and the CEO from the second situation were able to determine that expansion into the German market would lead to higher profits and growth than expansion into the South African market. When making important decisions with significant consequences in the long term, it is better to rely on well-crafted formulas, especially in complicated situations with large amounts of information. So for business expansion decisions that involve processing a lot of information and long-term projections, our advice to you as a business would be to use formulas instead of intuitive judgment when making these expansion decisions.